The world doesn't reward kindness. It rewards leverage. No matter how honest you are, someone will twist your truth. No matter how generous you are, someone will treat your grace as weakness. And no matter how hard you try to be liked, someone will still use your need for approval against you. That's not pessimism. That's the operating system of human nature. Those who see this clearly, they survive. Those who master it, they shape reality. This is what I call dark intelligence, not manipulation for sport, but the disciplined clarity to navigate a world that runs on hidden motives, unspoken hierarchies, and emotional leverage. It's the quiet power of the observer who speaks only when it shifts the game. It's the refusal to explain yourself to people who wouldn't understand even if you did. It's choosing freedom over flattery, sovereignty over smiles. Most people play checkers, reacting, apologizing, performing. You're about to learn chess. But let's be brutally honest, this isn't about becoming cruel. It's about becoming unbreakable. These tools are armor, not weapons. You're not learning to control others. You're learning to make yourself impossible to control. By the end of this, you won't just understand why seeking approval is self-sabotage. You'll feel it in your bones. So drop this in the comments right now. I am not here to be liked. I am here to be free. Now, let's step into the shadows and reclaim your power. 8 core lessons. Lesson 1. Withhold your intentions. You never reveal your full hand. You show only what's necessary to move the game forward and nothing that invites interference. In a world where your plans are data for others' strategies, silence is your first line of defense. Machiavelli once said, "A wise ruler ought never to keep faith, when by doing so it would be against his interests." Think about it. The moment you announce your new business idea at a dinner party, you've just handed potential competitors free intel. The second you tell your toxic coworker you're looking for a new job, you've given them ammunition to sabotage you. Even sharing your personal goals with the wrong friend can summon concern that's really envy in disguise. The most compelling people you know, they don't overshare. They don't justify. They act and let results speak. Their mystery isn't a gimmick, it's a boundary. While the average person blurts out their dreams like confessions, you measure your words like currency. You say, "I'm exploring something," not "I'm launching next month." You let curiosity build, because intrigue commands attention far more than transparency ever could. Don't mistake this for deception. I'm not suggesting you lie, but there's a vast difference between honesty and exposure. In negotiations, never name your bottom line first. In relationships, don't confess your deepest wounds to someone who hasn't earned the right to hold them. At work, let your performance announce your ambition, not your anxious chatter. Once this clicks, you'll feel a shift. People stop trying to steer your life. They stop assuming they have a say in your choices. You become unreadable, and in a world obsessed with decoding others, that's ultimate power. Just remember. Secrecy without purpose is paranoia, but silence with strategy? That's sovereignty. Remember, your silence isn't emptiness, it's containment. Lesson 2. Master controlled detachment. Detachment isn't indifference, it's the ability to engage fully without tying your worth to the outcome. You speak your truth, but you don't beg for it to be accepted. You give love, but you don't starve yourself waiting for it to be returned. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." He wasn't glorifying fear, he was exposing a raw truth. Emotional dependency is vulnerability. The moment you need someone to validate you, you've handed them control over your inner state. Watch what happens in most conversations. Someone criticizes your idea, and you scramble to defend it, voice tight, palms sweating. Why? Because you've fused your identity with your opinion. But the detached mind, it listens, considers, might even say, "That's one way to see it." No collapse, no performance. Just calm. Imagine your partner says, "You've been distant." The approval seeker panics. "No, I've been working so hard for us." The detached response, "I hear that. I've been focused, but I'm present now." No over-explaining. No guilt. Just grounded presence. Far from it, what I'm saying is this: care deeply, but never let your peace be held hostage by whether someone gets it or not. At the heart of this lies a quiet rebellion. You stop editing your truth to avoid disapproval. You stop shrinking to fit into someone else's comfort zone. And when you do that, something remarkable happens. Your energy stabilizes. You become a steady flame, not a flickering match. Never confuse detachment with disconnection. Connection matters, but only with those who honor your boundaries. Remember, you can be fully present without being emotionally available to everyone. Lesson 3. Cultivate strategic mystery. Mystery isn't about hiding, it's about revealing on your terms. You don't answer every question. You don't fill every silence. You let people lean in, wonder, and earn the privilege of knowing more. Machiavelli once said, "Men are so simple of mind and so much dominated by their immediate needs that a deceitful man will always find plenty who are ready to be deceived." He wasn't endorsing deceit. He was revealing how easily people project their assumptions onto gaps. And those assumptions, often more powerful than your actual words. Think of the colleague who never gossips, never complains, and only speaks when it matters. They don't chase respect, they command it by default. Or the friend who doesn't post every emotional wave online. People assume depth because they don't broadcast their surface. Where others leak energy through over-explanation, you conserve it through restraint. If someone asks why you left the party early, you don't say, "I felt overwhelmed and needed space." You say, "It was time to go." Short, complete, unapologetic. I'm not suggesting you become evasive, but there's immense power in letting your actions speak while your words remain sparse. In dating, don't confess your entire past on date 2. In leadership, don't justify every decision, state it with quiet authority. In business, let your results create the narrative. Once this clicks, you'll notice people listen more closely. They assume you have depth because you don't perform it. You become magnetic, not because you try to attract, but because you refuse to explain. Just don't let mystery become a cage. Reveal yourself, but only to those who've proven they can hold your truth without distorting it. Remember, the unsaid often echoes louder than the shouted. Lesson 4. Reframe rejection as filtering. Rejection isn't failure, it's filtration. Every no, every cold shoulder, every exclusion is the universe helping you shed people who don't align with your future. The faster you stop taking it personally, the faster you rise. Machiavelli once said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past." The word broken is a necessity of the present. People will disappoint you. They'll choose others over you. They'll call you too intense or not a good fit. Good. That's not a verdict on your worth. It's a mirror of their limitations. Watch this. You pitch a bold idea in a meeting. 2 people lean in. 3 roll their eyes. The approval seeker obsesses over the 3. What did I do wrong? The strategist thinks. 2 allies. That's my coalition. No self-flagellation. Just recalibration. Or you ask someone out and they say no. Most spiral. Am I not enough? But the filtered mind says, their loss. My time is valuable. No collapse. Just redirection. The real leverage comes from understanding this. Rejection isn't about you, it's about fit. And fit is non-negotiable. What changes everything is outcome indifference. Apply for the job. Send the message. Make the offer. But detach from the result. Your worth isn't determined by their response. It's confirmed by your courage to act. When you master this, you stop softening your edges to be acceptable. You stop editing your vision to avoid conflict. You become unapologetically yourself and attract only those who can handle your frequency. Just remember, filtering only works if you're clear on your standards. Don't confuse rejection with growth. Sometimes it's just noise. Remember, not being chosen by everyone is how you become chosen by the right ones. Lesion 5. Observe before you act. Power belongs to the observer, not the reactor. Before you speak, move, or commit, watch. Study who flatters when they want something. See who disappears when you're struggling. Track who respects boundaries and who tests them. Machiavelli once said, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." And you can't command wisely if you haven't first observed deeply. Most people jump in eager to please, to fix, to impress. But in doing so, they reveal their hand too soon. They become predictable. Replaceable. Think of office politics. The new hire, who immediately allies with the loudest person, often becomes collateral damage when that person falls. But the quiet one who watches for 3 months, they see who actually delivers, not who just talks. They see who holds real influence, not just volume. In social settings, notice who asks questions versus who only talks about themselves. In relationships, watch how someone treats service staff, not just how they treat you. These are the real signals. While the herd scrambles to be seen, you study the board. You delay your move, not out of fear, but precision. Underneath the tactic is a truth. Reaction is weakness. Observation is strategy. When someone insults you, don't snap back. Pause. When offered an opportunity, don't say yes immediately. Ask questions. When pressured to commit, say, "Let me think on it." Once this clicks, you stop walking into traps. You stop being played. You start positioning yourself where you can't lose. Just don't observe so long that you become passive. Watch. Then strike with certainty. Remember, the lion doesn't react to every bark. It waits for the right throat to grip. Lesson 6. Speak less, imply more. Your words are currency. Spend them sparingly. The more you talk, the more you dilute your power. Silence creates space for others to project respect onto you. Understatement creates intrigue. And implication, it lets others convince themselves of your brilliance. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." So why give them more to dissect? Most people over-explain to prove they're good or smart or worthy, but the moment you justify, you imply you need permission. Watch a negotiation. The nervous seller lists every feature. The calm seller says, "It solves your problem. Let me know if you're ready." Who do you trust more? In conflict, most say, "You're misunderstanding me." Instead you say, "I see you're upset. When you're ready to talk calmly, I'm here." No defense, no drama. Just boundary. The shift happens when you realize your silence isn't emptiness, it's authority. In emails, be concise. In arguments, be precise. In storytelling, be vivid, but brief. What changes is perception. People lean in. They assume you have depth because you don't broadcast your surface. They value your words because you don't waste them. Don't mistake brevity for coldness. I'm not suggesting you become mute. But there's power in letting your presence speak louder than your voice. Once this clicks, your words carry weight. Not because you shout, but because you choose when to speak at all. Remember, a single well-placed word can shatter a fortress of noise. Lesson 7. Never explain your worth. Your value is demonstrated, not declared. You don't tell people you're loyal, you show up when it matters. You don't say you're capable, you deliver results without fanfare. The moment you start explaining why you deserve respect, you've already lost the game. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. Fools beg for recognition." Wise ones create undeniable proof and let others come to their own conclusions. Think of the artist who posts daily about their struggle versus the one who drops a masterpiece and says nothing. Who commands more respect? The employee who complains about not being promoted versus the one who quietly leads and lets results speak. In relationships, most say, "Don't you see how much I do for you?" Instead, you simply stop doing it if it's not valued. No lecture, no guilt. Just withdrawal of energy. What changes everything is this. Your life becomes your argument. Build your portfolio. Save your money. Cultivate your skills. Then let your existence be the evidence. Once this clicks, you stop needing external validation. You become self-referential. Your confidence isn't loud, it's quiet, unshakable, and undeniable. Just remember, never stop asserting boundaries, but never explain why you deserve them. Respect isn't negotiated, it's assumed by those who matter. Remember, lions don't convince sheep of their strength, they simply walk away from the flock. Lesson 8. Become unmanipulatable. The ultimate power isn't controlling others, it's being impossible to control. You don't react to guilt trips. You don't cave to flattery. You don't shift your values to keep someone comfortable. You stand firm, and in doing so, you force others to deal with the real you or leave. Machiavelli once said, "It is necessary for a prince who wishes to maintain his position to learn how not to be good." He didn't mean be evil, he meant stop being good in ways that make you weak. Stop being nice when it costs you your integrity. Stop being agreeable when it erases your truth. Here's how manipulation works. If you really cared, you'd do this. Or, everyone else is fine with it. Why are you so difficult? Or, I guess I'll just handle it myself, all designed to trigger your fear of disapproval. But the unmanipulatable person, they say, I care, but that doesn't mean I'll compromise my boundaries, or good for them. I'm not them, or then handle it, but don't expect me to feel guilty. The line is thin, but it's real. Firmness isn't cruelty. It's self-respect in action. At the heart of this lies values-based immovability. Know your non-negotiables and guard them like treasure. In family drama, don't get pulled into old roles. In toxic workplaces, don't absorb their chaos. In friendships, don't pretend to agree just to keep peace. Once this clicks, people stop trying to control you. They either respect you or reveal themselves as users. Never confuse strength with rigidity. You can be flexible on methods, but immovable on principles. Remember, the hardest person to manipulate is the one who doesn't need you to like them. Final note. You've just absorbed the 8 pillars of dark intelligence, the antidote to approval seeking. But let's be clear. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. And you're not here to be entertained, you're here to be unshakable. So here's your mission. Pick one of these principles, just one, and live it for the next 7 days. Not all 8, not someday. Now, maybe it's speak less, imply more. Or become unmanipulatable. Whatever resonates, embody it. When someone pressures you for an answer, pause. When you feel the urge to justify yourself, stay silent. Track what shifts in your energy, your confidence, how others treat you. But with this power comes responsibility. Use these insights to protect your peace, not to wound others, to build boundaries, not prisons, to reclaim your autonomy, not dominate someone else's. The world doesn't need more manipulators. It needs more people who are unmanipulatable, grounded, clear, and free from the addiction to external validation. That's how you build real influence. Not by controlling others, but by mastering yourself. And that brings us to the final choice. There are 2 paths. The first uses psychology to bend others to their will. They're the manipulators. The second uses psychology to make themselves impossible to bend. They're the sovereign. One seeks power over others. The other seeks power over themselves. One lives in fear of exposure. The other lives in the freedom of self-possession. Which kind of person do you choose to be? If this struck a nerve, hit like. It tells YouTube this matters. Subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into strategic sovereignty. And in the comments, tell me, which principle are you practicing this week? Be specific. I'm mastering controlled detachment, or I'm becoming unmanipulatable. Let's build a brotherhood of men who choose freedom over flattery. Stay strategic. Stay ethical. Stay powerful.